Hello guys, welcome back to an extravaganza of the Unique Trading Group. I'm Coach UV, and this will be an exciting update for what's going on right now. Look around, take a deep breath, soak in this moment. The market is rallying, feels like everything rallying, but we were prepared, you understand? First and foremost, thank you guys for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. This will be a Monday Madness episode, you understand? So a very special video, all right? This is 11:48, 7:20 before the 12 o'clock lunch break. Wanted to go ahead and get this recorded for you guys. And I also say thank you. Thank you for all the subscribers and all the viewers. I've been receiving the love and the feedback, and I want to say thank you. It's greatly appreciated, all right? Let's keep that momentum going. Send to a friend or family, right? And/or colleague who wants to learn about trading, get their foot in the game, get their feet wet a little bit. I think this will be the perfect channel for them. All right, now I prepared you guys all week, all month for what you see in front of you. Look at this, trap is set, now we rally. All right, rare signal 2 weeks ago for the Monday Madness episode 12. All right, we are episode 11 for the Monday Madness series. We came a long way, but I have been preparing you guys. Market rotation, right? Retail's #1 blind spot exposed, right? Fear is fueling this market, right? The CPI game plan, all right? Around Monday Madness episode 11. I'm sorry, this is episode 12 of Monday Madness. But the previous 10 and 11, I've been preparing you guys. And most of all, the market. Be prepared for the rally, mid-year rally. How smart money's positioning right now. That was 3 weeks ago. We were sitting around 595. And now we are at 630. Feast your eyes on this chart. This has been a very great trading session today here on the weekly. You see this breakout, this V bottom pattern historically brings really good gains. All right, we are at 631. The market is trying to get to 632. Could we go higher the rest of the week? Of course. But today we've shown resilience. All right. We have earnings coming from Tesla tomorrow and some more economic headwinds and geopolitical risks. So volatility is there. The swings are there. But overall, you guys see that we have been bullish. I prepared you for this. I prepared you. So if you took these trades, if you've been following along, pat yourself on the back. We did it, all right? We followed a plan, all right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance, and that's what we did. All right, now I have spot going to 640, 650, and 670 over time. All right, if you're not already in, don't chase, but I do suggest buying leaps. All right, LEAPS, leaps. All right, these are long-term securities in the options market that you're able to take advantage of when you are bullish for the rest of the year. All right, you want to take advantage of the equity curve for the rest of the year. You don't have to miss out on day trade, but you can participate in the long-term game buying leaps and options only if the stock is good and we have good momentum. So that's what you see in front of you. All right, SPY. If you're not in, you want to wait for a pullback. Remember, we have earnings and more economic data, so things could get volatile. So stay patient, stay nimble, stay disciplined. Remember, this is where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. All right, so moving on along. All right, we have Tesla. Tesla has earnings. Tesla has earnings coming out. We are falling below 330, but we had a nice pump up pre-market. All right, that gap got filled. It's been a gap filled and reversal so far, thus far. All right, but we are still holding demand levels from previous days and making higher lows. All right, could we retest these lows? Yes, we can. It could be a sell-off into the earnings. You never know, and depending on how much time you have, right? If you're someone in the market with not a lot of time on your options contract, remember we deal with options. We trade options in the stock market like equities, Apple, Tesla, SPY, right? And so if we buy contracts, each contract represents 100 shares per contract in the option market, and that's what we buy to day trade direction, up or down. Okay, so for the newbies listening, there's your tad bit of information. And so depending on how much time you have on these contracts, right, because we also have to deal with expiration. All right, you can go next year, 2026, 2 years from now, 2027, March, April. All right, or you can go out a week from now or the end of this week. Okay, and depending on who you are, you might not have enough time. These phenomena affect the market. Okay, and so stay nimble. Understand that Tesla wants 350. All right, we already gapped up. Could be some profit taking. All right, but at 318 on form, that 333 was a target. All right, we went there and some, and we had a massive sell-off today. All right, 7/21/2025. All right, July 21st. All right, so let's move on along. I want to check out APOD, APOD. All right. As long as we stay above 1156, the previous demand zone, 1155, we are good on ALPD. All right, there you go. All right, have fun with that. Joy, if you're watching, if you're listening, this is for you. All right, remember that demand level, okay? Maybe get you some more time, or maybe think about taking some profit if it's not doing anything towards the end of Friday, the end of this week, okay? All right, what else we got up here? All right, we got Bitcoin, all right? Bitcoin is sitting at 118,000. All right, been doing pretty good today, up about 1%. All right, we took a nosedive on Bitcoin after we got up to highs of 122,000. All right, we have reclaimed these prior levels since we've recovered on the, which was today. We made some lows to around 16, and now we're at 118. So we're waiting for a break to retest these highs. So that's what we have on Bitcoin. Now we want to check XRP, and I appreciate you guys watching this far. We're going to skip on to one or two more stocks and we're going to move on. XRP is a very interesting one, okay? And I have some markups here that I did with some people, and what I see on XRP is a break, all right? If we can get a break above 366 conventionally and hold, we can see parabolic moves over time, all right? I'm talking $5, $6, $8, and even $10. XRP for some is something they want to hold for a lifetime because it means something to them. The use case, what does XRP mean? What does it do? And so these people understand that with cross-border payments, right? Like instantaneous, very, very fast border payments. They understand XRP, and so they hold for long term. Some people trade it. However, we do have a technical pattern that says bullish, all right? Very, very bullish. A W shape, all right, a two-try failure. And if this pattern continues to play out, we can see parabolic moves towards the upside, okay? My altcoin family, crypto, all right, I'm going to start a channel for you guys, all right? So get excited, all right? Hit that like button if you've been enjoying this video so far. All right, we're going to check ticker symbol U, all right, Unity, all right, ticker symbol Unity. All right, this is looking like you want to take a breather, all right? There are heavy contracts at the 65 strike into next year, all right? There could be some institutions hitting a bid, all right? If we fall below these lines here, 35 bucks, we can revisit 30 bucks and 29 bucks, all right? So that's what we're looking like for Unity Fair, all right? But above these levels, all right, 45 and 50 are your next parabolic levels for Unity Fair, okay? Now, last but not least, let's check the VIX. All right, and we're going to wrap up this video. Appreciate you guys staying around for this episode 12 of Monday Madness with Coach UV. All right, the VIX is at 16 historically. 16 is a buy. All right, we already see that SPY is going up. All right, this is the VIX index. This controls the fear and greed index, all right, for the S&P, SPY. So this lets you know how many people are buying puts and how many people are buying calls. And we have continuation to the downside. So as long as VIX goes down, the SPY will go up, and we're going to wrap the video up with that chart, all right? SPY is breaking highs. We are at all-time highs at 630, okay? Just expect some momentum towards the upside as long as the institutions are buying, all right? There's money circulating into the market. Don't miss this opportunity. I'm the one who gave it to you beforehand, before it happened. Just remember that. You guys stay humble out there. Always protect your entry, your exits, and your risk before you take every trade. Remember, we have economic headwinds and earnings, so never chase if you're not in. Wait for a pullback. But if you're in on a good pullback like right here, and you have leaps in time on your contract, then you're probably playing weeklies. SPY wants 640, 650, and even 670. You don't want to be the one that stayed around waiting for a pullback. You want to get in position, all right, and not trading with fear, okay? The rally continues, all right? If you've enjoyed this video, episode 11, Monday Madness, please hit the like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so that you're notified when I drop valuable videos, all right? Until the next time, guys, I see you for the halftime show, all right? You guys stay cool, all right? Peace.